Check, 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 check. All right, check this out. I got this text a couple days ago that I just had to share with you guys. So the text said, made about $130,000 from the campaign. Looks like the landing page was no big deal. So first off, generating $130,000 from an email marketing campaign is insane. We see 100K campaigns from clinics, established clinics in particular, but these results are, obviously way higher than typical. But the part about this that's interesting, obviously generating $130,000 from a marketing campaign is great. But the second part I thought was a little bit more interesting in kind of why I wanted to do this podcast. Because before we rolled out the email marketing campaign, this clinic owner came to me and was like, "Hey, we're running. This was open enrollment, and this is what we're going to be talking about during this podcast." Um, we put together a fairly what looked like a simple landing page, and this clinic owner came to me. It was like, hey, I see these other open enrollment landing pages. They have all of this other stuff on them. There's a countdown timer. There's, all this like sales conversion copy text, and there's all these things on there. And he was wondering, should we be doing this? Should we be putting all of that stuff together? And I kind of told him, simple is better on the landing page side of things, and we're going to dive into later in this podcast how to exactly set up a landing page for a marketing campaign. But because we went the simple route, he had more people sign up for the open enrollment campaign, and he ended up generating $130,000. So I think that's definitely something a lot of clinic owners try to do is just overcomplicate marketing campaigns. And again, what I'm going to go over in this podcast today is the three things that you should be doing on every marketing campaign that is going to make them very successful. The other text I got, same, talking about the same marketing campaign here, but that text was, 65 open enrollment packages this year, new record for us. We need the money as we're about to dump $75,000 into a remodel and expansion. I loved getting this text because it just reinforces for me and hopefully to you as well. Like, this is why we do email marketing campaigns on a quarterly basis. Obviously these are examples for open enrollment, but if you're bringing on a new provider, if you're moving into a new space, if you're trying to, if you have a need to generate and have a cash bump, open enrollment, I think, I know Danny Matei from PT Biz is the one who kind of coined this term. And the reason he started running open enrollment was because at the end of the year, things get slower. You take a cash hit and you need to do something in order to replenish your cash reserves in some of these slower times. So, I think, seasonality obviously is very real for cash-based clinics. And if you can understand when things are going to be a little bit slower and put together, a marketing campaign around that, that's where you're going to be able to have more consistency with your business. You're not going to think about, like, oh shit, like I'm going to go under, during this really slow month. Another really good example of this is, kind of June into July, summertime, 4th of July, running some sort of deal there to get a cash flow bump. It's a really good idea. And that's why, again, you run quarterly marketing campaigns. So again, what I want to talk about today is going to be geared towards open enrollments. Is going to be relevant for any marketing campaign you're putting together. But let's talk about open enrollment. So open enrollment it's a marketing campaign you run either towards the end of the year or at the beginning of the year. And the point of open enrollment is to reactivate patients that might have fallen off or not moved on with you for ongoing care. So a lot of this is reactivation for older patients. Open enrollment, normally generates, anywhere from 75 to $100,000 for some clinics. And, we ran this for over 100 people inside of Patch, and most people sold over 20 packages for this. So again, we ran this for 100 people. These results are typical. If you're thinking to yourself, oh, I I can't do that. It doesn't work for me. Like you can. This will work for you, and you can do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the secrets to running a successful marketing campaign and teach you what the deliverables are in order to see these results. So kind of like I said, I think there's three specific things that you have to do inside of a marketing campaign, and we're going to use open enrollment as a specific example for this. So the first thing that goes into a marketing campaign is going to be the email drip side of things. I think where a lot of clinic owners will get frustrated with email marketing campaigns, and again, kind of just believe that this doesn't work for me, is because they send out one or two kind of haphazard emails saying, "Hey, we're running open enrollment," or "We're running this running program," or whatever it might be, and it doesn't work. And again, they just kind of justify like, oh, maybe this just isn't going to work for me. And to be honest, there's a lot of excuses. And the reason that we do a 6 email drip is because we know that most people convert on email 4, 5, or 6. And I think, I tell that to a lot of clinic owners. And I think they're shocked by that. I think most clinic owners go into an email marketing campaign thinking, oh man, if I'm emailing somebody 5, 6, 7 times within a 2 or 3 week span, they're not going to convert, and they're going to instead actually feel annoyed by all of the emails that I'm sending out, which is the opposite, just totally wrong. Like, people on your email list, they don't really care. You're overthinking that if you do think that you're being annoying, to be totally honest. And your people on your list, they want to hear from you. That's why they're on your list. And if you want to feel a little less annoying, and where we see email marketing campaigns be a little bit more successful as well, is if you're sending out a weekly newsletter. That's a really important thing to remember. These sales campaigns, something like an open enrollment or putting together a marketing campaign for a new PT, or if you're doing, a summer 6 pack or a running program, they are way more successful if you're consistently reaching out to your email list. So again, it's got to be on a weekly basis. I think at the very minimum, it's got to be monthly. And again, if you want to feel a little bit less annoying, pushing more things on the sales side, writing a weekly newsletter that is educational, informative, and entertaining is going to make these sales emails a little less gross. And people are going to want to buy from you because you've provided value to them for the last 2, 3 months. So it's definitely something to think about. And again, most people convert on email 4, 5, or 6. When you're thinking about, I think where again a lot of the paralysis comes in when writing these email drips is like, what do I talk about here? Like, what do I even, I don't even know what to put in, a monthly email newsletter. How am I going to come up with, stuff to write about over 5 or 6 emails? So obviously we're going to be talking about like the campaign that you're putting together, and it's really important to know the difference between a sales email sequence and a general nurture sequence. So sales email sequence, that's going to be something like open enrollment. And it's important to remember, like, we're trying to sell something here. So, yes, these emails are going to be a little salesy because at the end of the day, if you don't ask for that sale, then you're not going to get it. So the copy in the emails should, again, push someone towards a sale. It should, I always like to write these emails with a couple different things inside of them. So one of them, it should be like solving a problem. So the marketing campaign that we're putting together, open enrollment, what problem is this solving for the reader? Again, it's the end of the year. There's a huge discount. We're solving lots of problems with our open enrollment campaign. So how can we talk about that? How can we position the problem that the reader's having, how open enrollment solves it, and then ask for that sale for them to come in and purchase their open enrollment? So that would be, an example of one email that you could send out. Other emails would include like overcoming an objection. Again, this is going to be a salesy email, but we're looking for a sale. overcoming an objection for the most part, right? In the physical therapy world, we're talking about, especially in the cash world, right? We're talking about, price point is really the big one, and insurance is going to be the other big one. So, how does open enrollment solve the objection of price and insurance? Obviously that's a very easy one. It's this huge deal that we're running here. So most open enrollment campaigns, it's going to be, a traditional offer for open enrollment is 12 sessions for the price of 10. So you're saving a pretty good amount of money there. We actually ran with a lot of success this year, 24 sessions for the price of 20. I always love getting people locked in for more sessions. It's a bigger discount when people are purchasing more as well. And that's a little bit easier to sell too. And then you have somebody for 24 sessions. Think about all the amazing things you can do with somebody over 24 sessions. So, again, each marketing campaign that you're putting together, how are you overcoming that objection? I always love like almost like paradigm shifts with those emails too. I think we have a really big opportunity to educate our list and potential patients on physical therapy, because I think most people, they think about physical therapy as what their grandmother went to, sitting in a chair, doing some marches, small bands. Obviously, we are changing that narrative in the cash-based world, especially in the performance side of things and the one-on-one care and the 60-minute sessions. So that's another easy way to overcome an objection and just change the mindset for somebody of like what actually is physical therapy. And, with that mindset change, open enrollment is the perfect opportunity for somebody to come in and experience this new wave of physical therapy. So, that would be another really awesome email that you could send out. And again, it's going to feel and sound a little salesy, but we are trying to get somebody to come in and we are trying to get a sale. So that is really important to do as well. The last couple of emails that you can include in this 5 to 6 email drip. I love a testimonial email. So just go into your Google reviews, pulling a couple of the really high leverage testimonials that you may have on there. What we want to do with the testimonial email is to position the reader and get them to read one of those reviews and almost put themselves in the shoes of the person that left that testimonial. So if somebody leaves a testimonial about back pain and how they're out of back pain and back to running now, if we take that email and we get it in front of a runner that is dealing with back pain, then the chance of them coming in and resonating with that story is going to be extremely high. And there's a little bit more trust built in there. So this testimonial email, to be honest, is one of the highest converting emails that we send out. And it takes a long time. I'm not going to. All of these emails take thought process, copy. This is not something you just plug in ChatGPT and it's going to spit out an email for you. These are things that have to be super custom for you, and you have to put a little time and care in the human touch element of these emails. That's how you get these things to convert. The last couple of emails that you can send out, one of them is called what we call like a sales letter here. So this is almost like I look at it as like a love letter, and really just describing like, okay, like basically what we're doing is we're taking all of the big points, and the important points that we wrote about in all of our other emails, weaving them all together, and really just telling people like, hey, like if you are dealing with these things and you have these problems and you've been trying to get healthier and fix your injuries, now is the time to do it because of this promotion that we're running. And again, we're talking about open enrollment here. So that sales letter, there's a little bit of scarcity added to it at the end. I like even sending, an email, the last email, like, hey, we have, 24 hours, or we have 2 open enrollment packages left. That's a really good way. Scarcity, people don't want to miss out on things. So making sure that you add those scarcities in becomes really, really important. So again, there's two different types of scarcity as well. There's time scarcity and there's quantity scarcity. And if you can use both of those, then the odds of somebody moving forward and again feeling that FOMO and wanting to come in and purchase whatever it is that you're selling, it's going to make it a lot easier. So you've got your 6 email drip. this is really like the crux of what you're doing. What I always love to do, and we're not going to talk about it too much today because we're just talking about the digital marketing side of things. But the things that you're putting together in your email drips, you should be able to repurpose that stuff for social media. So any infographics that you're creating, any again problems that you're solving, any objections that you're overcoming, how can you take the email copy that you wrote and then recreate that into social media posts? This is a really easy way to, again, just take some of the content you're producing and reproduce it over different platforms on your marketing end. So that's going to be the email drips. The second part of all this stuff is going to be landing pages. Okay, so again, we're going to be going over the top three things that you need to be doing in order to run a successful marketing campaign. First one's going to be email drips. The second part is going to be a landing page. So within each email that you're writing, there should be a call to action. There should be a button at the bottom that sends people to a landing page. I know I talked about it at the beginning of this podcast where, I think a lot of, this clinic owner in particular wanted to overcomplicate this landing page. A couple of the other open enrollment landing pages that he saw had all this crazy content on it and felt like, that's going to make something convert more. But to be honest with you, very simple, easy to navigate, straightforward, not confusing landing page is the way that you want to go with this stuff. So the first thing I always look at on a landing page is going to be what's above the fold. So when somebody clicks on the call to action button in an email and they go to this landing page, what do they see on that landing page before they scroll at all? That is going to be what above the fold is. And Alex Hormozi has a really awesome video about this. It's basically like the three different types of landing pages that he puts together, and all this stuff is above the fold that he's putting together. But basically, what you want here is going to be a simple form above the fold in text that confirms that people are in the right spot based on what button they clicked on. So for our example, we're writing emails about open enrollment. Somebody wants to move forward. They click the call to action button on the email. They go to this landing page. Above the fold on that landing page, it should talk about what open enrollment is, the details about open enrollment, and there should be a really simple form where they can put their first name, last name, phone number, email in, and they can inquire about purchasing this. You can make it a little bit more complicated where somebody fills out that form, they get redirected to a checkout link or a discovery call where they can book a call with you to talk more and get things rolling. That's a little bit further down the funnel. We're just talking about kind of top of funnel stuff here, but again, the point is that landing page should be very simple. You can add bullet points in where it's going to give the top three things that this open enrollment plan is going to solve for the reader. But again, there shouldn't be much scrolling because the more they scroll, the more they start thinking about things, the more likely they are to not move forward with you. So again, the more text, the more scrolling, the less conversion with all of these things. Then obviously it becomes really important here, right? If you're pushing somebody to a form on the landing page, the follow-up process has to be dialed in, and follow-up is going to be our third thing that is going to make marketing campaigns super successful. So the first form of follow-up is obviously going to be anybody that inquires about services. So they read your emails, they click the call to action button, they go to your landing page, they fill out a form, and they're essentially inquiring about purchasing whatever product that you're selling. Those people, that's kind of just step one, right? Like they've just given you their information, they've raised their hand that they're interested in the service. Now the hard part starts where you have to, ideally you're following up with that person within 15 minutes of that inquiry. So somebody fills out a form, they should be enrolled into an email drip. You should be following up within 15 minutes, and that follow up should include a phone call, a voicemail, a text, and an email. all of those things. Again, there's 4 points there. You should be doing all of those things in order to follow up with somebody within the first 15 minutes. And then you want to do that 3 times in that first day if you have not heard back. And then 1 time a day for the next week, or really the duration of the program that you're running. So if open enrollment stops next week, you really want to follow up that person every week to try to every day throughout that week to try to get them in, because again, they haven't given you their money yet, so it's not successful until they actually give you their money and they come in for those come in for the open enrollment package that you're running there. The other side of the follow-up is going to be, so obviously that's anybody that inquires about services, right? So they've really moved forward. Now we're kind of talking about almost like warm reach out here. And to be honest, when we're talking about open enrollment and really any marketing campaign that we're running, the warm reach out side of things is what's going to convert the most people. So if you want to know the difference between an open enrollment campaign that sells 10 open enrollment packages versus one that does $130,000 in revenue, that the difference there is all about the warm lead follow up. So, what is warm lead follow up? So any warm lead is somebody that already knows who you are. Maybe they've come in for services, or they came in for an evaluation, or they've inquired about services. And in our case, we can classify warm leads as somebody that also interacts with the email drip that's going out. So a warm lead, right, would be, you're sending out these 5 or 6 emails. So somebody clicked on that email and they went to your landing page, but they didn't fill out that form. That's a lead. You should know who that person is. You should be following up with that person. I always loved, and I did this with my weekly newsletter as well when I was writing it for Ripple, is that anybody that interacted with your email more than 3 times, you should follow up with that lead as well. So, and we use HubSpot for all of our email marketing. We can go in and we can see how many interactions somebody has with an email. If somebody's interacting, especially a sales nurture sequence, more than 3 times, I'm following up with that person. I'm trying to give them more information about the program that we're running and seeing if they're interested. So, that would be the first form of a warm lead, is anybody that's interacting with the email campaigns that we're rolling out, even any social media that we're putting out about the open enrollment marketing campaign. The second form of warm leads is going to be anybody that's come into the clinic or interacted with the clinic. Okay, so we have a little bit of a cheat code here where we have an integration with PT Everywhere and HubSpot. So all of our PT Everywhere data lives inside of HubSpot. So this is all really, really organized for us. We can tell, the date of somebody's last appointment, the date of their next appointment, and how many total sessions they have remaining. But if you don't have that information super cleanly built out, this is just something you're going to have to pull from your EMR, because the first person that you're going to want to reach out to try to sell, this is open enrollment in particular, is anybody who's about to finish their package, and you can upsell them into more sessions with open enrollment. So again, if somebody has 1 or 2 sessions remaining on their package, maybe they're going to be kind of on the fence, or you don't really know if they're going to move forward in any sort of continuity plan with you. What a perfect opportunity it is for you to get them locked in for another 12 or 24 sessions. And they're going to be saving a little bit of money as well. And again, I think a lot of clinic owners will think like, well, I don't want to discount my services with open enrollment, and if they're going to pay anyways, I always love giving our patients any sort of discounts and deals if they're going to stick around. I know that if somebody comes in for 6 months worth of care for us, and let's call it 24, 25 sessions, they're not going anywhere ever. They're locked in with us. We're going to be the only choice they have for anything fitness or injury related. And we're going to get that person. We're just going to be part of their weeks moving forward if we have that much time with them. So I'm more than happy to discount a little bit there to get them to continue moving forward and working with us. The second person that you're going to want to reach out to is going to be anyone who just finished their package, but they didn't re-up on that package. So maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, seeing again who purchased a 10 pack, they finished all 10 of those sessions, but they didn't move forward in any sort of continuity. Reaching out to those people, especially if they haven't been in the clinic for a couple months, maybe their injuries resurfaced a little bit, maybe they need a little bit more help on their training plan, whatever it might be. Following up with those people is going to be a really easy way to sell a handful of open enrollments. I always tell the people inside of Patch when they're running this, you should be reaching out to these people 3 different times. When you first start running the marketing campaign, halfway through the marketing campaign, and then at the end of the marketing campaign with a little bit of scarcity behind it. So again, somebody they finished their package, let's call it a month ago. You're going to be following up with them 3 times to try to get them in for that open enrollment package. And that works really, really well. Again, you've already built trust with that person. They haven't been in the clinic in a couple months, so something is probably resurfaced or they need to get back into a routine. Those people are really easy to reconvert. The third person that you're going to want to reach out to is anyone who inquired or came in for an evaluation, but they didn't move forward with a plan of care. So again, hopefully you have this data very cleanly organized, leveraging a CRM for these things, or using your EMR. But if somebody booked a discovery call, ghosted you, and then never move forward with a plan of care, you should be reaching out and telling that person about this open enrollment campaign you're running and why they should be coming in. This works actually extremely well for anything that you're doing in the new year too, because if somebody inquired for an evaluation in November or December, chances are shit just happened, and they have holidays and family stuff, and they have all of these other things going on. So at the time their back was really hurting, but they realized I don't have time to commit to 60-minute sessions or physical therapy in general. So if you can follow up and reach out to those people, again, those are going to be shoo-ins to get them in for an evaluation. And, now they're saving a bunch of money with this open enrollment program. So you're definitely going to want to reach out to those people. And then the last one was anybody who's ever come in and they didn't move forward with a plan of care because their objection for that plan of care was insurance or price. Obviously, open enrollment, or again, any marketing campaign that you're going to be putting together is going to be a little bit discounted on the services side of things. So if somebody came in, they loved your service, but it was just like, hey, this is just too expensive, or I have to try my insurance, those are the perfect people to reach out to and follow up with, and let them know about this, sale, this deal that you're running, and try to get them in the door for discounted services if their objection was truly price. Again, we use CRM for all of this stuff, where if somebody doesn't move forward in plan of care, we categorize why they didn't move forward in plan of care based on what that objection is. And, we're able to pull a really easy list and see all right, here are all the people where price was an objection. We're going to do manual, individual, personalized follow-up for all these people. Again, that just converts super, super well. So again, the 3 things that we're doing here, it's going to be the 6 email drip. You've got an optimized landing page, and then you're following up, with all the different types of warm leads. And to be honest, you need to do all of these things successful. You need to do all of these things to make a marketing campaign successful. You can't just throw out a couple emails and not do any sort of follow up and not have an optimized landing page. You can't just do follow up and not run an email marketing campaign. You need to be doing all of these things if you want to have the 70, 80, $100,000+ marketing campaigns. You need to be putting all of those things together. And it's important to note too, right? The clinics that are doing the 6-figure marketing campaigns, these are established clinics. They've been around for a while. They have an email list that's 800-900 people, and they've already built this brand trust. But the most important thing especially with the open enrollment, is people start expecting it year over year, and people kind of hold out to purchase this open enrollment, which is awesome. So if you are a new clinic and you're like, listen, I only got a couple hundred people on my email list, and I've never run this before, or I ran it and I sent a couple emails and it didn't really work as well as what I thought it was going to. You need to do this, and you need to run this every year. This is with any marketing campaign you're putting together. Even if you only convert, 5 or 6 people, that is 5 or 6 more people that you have in the door that you didn't have beforehand. And again, just like the repetition with these marketing campaigns becomes really important. If you plan to be in business for the next 10 years, if you're only in year one now or year two and you've never run open enrollment before, now is the time to do it. And now is the time to start putting together marketing campaigns. This example is obviously for open enrollment, but really this should be done, every quarter to some extent. I always ask people, like, if you could reactivate a dozen patients and generate an extra $30,000 a quarter, why wouldn't you? And that's where the planning side of things for these marketing campaigns comes into play. And again, why you need to do it. And what I always tell people as well is, like, deal fatigue is certainly a thing. So you can't run open enrollment and reactivate your whole list every single quarter. You need to be very tactful with this. So if you're running open enrollment in Q4, you probably shouldn't do a full list uh, big email marketing campaign again in Q1. You should probably wait till Q2 for that. But in Q1, can you do something where you're segmenting your list out and selling a marketing campaign to only your winter athletes? Or in Q2, can you do it just for your runners or just for people that are preparing for a marathon? And then, every 6 months, you do a full list reactivation where you're trying to fully reactivate people. So again, this probably, might sound confusing. It might sound like a lot of work. To be honest, it is. It is a ton of work. But you have to do all of these things to be successful. And again, probably the most important thing that you have to do is plan all of this stuff out and make sure that you're running marketing campaigns at the correct time. I think that's been one of the bigger unlocks that we've had for a lot of our patch clients that are working with us. So they just have an actual marketing plan here. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If you guys have any questions on open enrollment or putting together a marketing campaign, it's definitely on my list of things to do, is to outline, just a full-fledged marketing campaign and what are all the deliverables and what needs to be done in there. So I'll definitely be getting to that. If you guys have any topics you want me to go over in this podcast, definitely let me know. I'm having a blast doing this. Shoot me a follow on Instagram, send me over a DM, and I will talk to you guys soon.